I've had a passion for sports my entire life. Okay, so frankly, one of the things I was wanting to do was coach sports, and that was a key reason why I decided to quit being a CPA. Okay, so that was 7, 8 years ago. Long story short, I became the operator of I9 Sports here in Tampa. Okay, a lot of different things just fell in place. And it was just a really good match because of my passion for sports. I've coached about 20 seasons. No, between my wife and I, we've coached about 20 seasons combined of high school volleyball. And then now with I9, with our kids, we've spent a number of years coaching. So I haven't counted, but the number of seasons I've coached has probably been about 25 plus seasons coaching some sport. And my wife is similar in that breadth. So we really do have a big passion for coaching. We have a passion for helping youth succeed, not just in sports, but also using sports um, to help them to succeed in life. Okay, and that really ties into what the purpose of I9 Sports is, and the purpose as I've written it for this organization in this Eastern Tampa Bay area is to help kids succeed in life through sports by providing a youth sports experience unlike any other, teaching the importance of good sportsmanship on the field and in life while developing them as athletes. Okay, I really take it to heart that I want to make sure that we're helping to develop them as athletes and as individuals. Okay. Those that have been on coaches meetings, those that have been around as a coach from about a year ago compared to now, the staff that were on a year ago compared to now have told me that the amount of things that I've done to really support our coaches is pretty significant. I've spent hours and hours and hours to create video libraries and different practice plans to really maximize the effectiveness of all of our coaches. So when they're out there with your kids, they're not just out there running blind. Okay. I want you parents to understand that this season, I can guarantee you that this season will not be perfect for everybody. Okay. Guaranteed. Okay. But I am here actively every single email that you guys send in. Okay. Everything that you respond, whether it's normally you'll receive something from League Office or from Brad.Jurgensen, just about everything that you send in, I see and I take, and I want to make sure I make it right. Okay, I like to say that we will make mistakes, but once I hear about a mistake, I'm pretty good as of now of not making that same mistake a second time. Okay, so when there are issues, please reach out to me. Okay, one issue that I do not see as an issue. Okay, and there's a number of things that we can jump into later on this. Missed calls by refs is not an issue. Okay. Now, refs not controlling a game or understanding how to control a game, that is an issue. Okay. Missed calls are frankly a part of life. You watch any NBA game, you watch any NFL game, you watch the Super Bowl, the most watched game in the history of the world. Okay. And even at the highest level where these are full-time referees, they're missing calls all the time. Okay. Any missed call on your child or on your team is the first of hundreds of calls that are going to be missed in their life as an athlete. Okay. One thing as you as a parent, if you get angry, okay, and you start getting mad at the refs or you start blaming the refs or you get mad at anything besides what's happening, it actually removes some responsibility from your kid, and it makes it harder for them to learn and grow from that experience, to realize that, hey, they're not gonna always gonna have mom or dad there to help them. Okay, that sometimes things are gonna happen that are out of their control, that might be flat out wrong. Okay, and they're gonna be able to be out there and make it happen. Okay, regardless of a good or a bad call. So that's a big thing, is that we don't tolerate getting angry or yelling at refs. Okay, there's another time and another place for it. Okay, if it really is that strong, by all means reach out to me. But when we're on the court, 99% of the time, the players on the court or on the field, they don't even realize what happened. Okay, they're out there wanting to play and wanting to have fun. Okay, and there's a story, and this has really like struck home to me. And I'm gonna copy and paste this. Let's see if the chat works. I think I can send it. Nope, I just send that to one person only. Um, Maybe I'll turn on. I'll figure that out at the end, and I'll send the chat out to everybody. It's called I Love to Watch You Play.com. And the story it's of this lady, and she's created an organization from it. And she had a daughter that was going to be, she was part of the USA water polo team, like the 16 under USA national water polo team. And long story short, before her senior year, she quit. And a lot of it was because of all the pressure that was put on her. And a lot of it with what we're trying to do with I-9 is we really want this season and all seasons when your kids are playing, and hopefully throughout the rest of their life, it should be about having fun. A lot of times having fun has this like negative aura about it, okay? Oh, they just want to have fun. They don't want to learn at all. And that's not the case at all. We want to have fun while they develop, while they're competing. But it is never at the expense of having fun, of not having fun. Because having fun is what keeps them developing, keep them loving life, okay? Keep them wanting to come back and keep playing. When adults go out and play sports, they go out typically to have fun. And we should be able to let our kids go out and have fun as well. Okay. So the two things that this lady says from I love to watch you play.com is she tells parents when you feel like you're getting frustrated with things is two big things. First, remember the why. Why are they out there playing? Okay. Nobody's going to be getting a scholarship when they're out there playing this season. Okay. That's not for a long ways down the road. Okay. And then the other thing to always remember is to support, don't pressure. Okay. My 5-year-old, he does pretty well with sports. And a couple months ago, I was getting mad at him because he was scared of the ball hitting him. And right the next day I met this lady that had this organization about not pressuring people and supporting not pressuring. And it was pretty eye-opening to me that my 5-year-old, I didn't need to be mad at him for being scared of a ball. He's 5. Okay. So, and I know there's been plenty of times that I have had that experience where I've probably pressured my kids too much. So I just encourage you all to remember that these kids want to have fun and be supported. And the number one thing that they want to hear from their parents, okay, as this lady has done a lot of research, the number one thing they want to hear, whether they did great, whether they did poor, whatever the results of their individual or their team play, kids want to hear from their parents that they love to watch them play. That's all they want to hear, and that's really what makes them truly love the sport and to keep playing. Okay? I'd encourage you guys as we do this to cheer for both teams. Okay? Let me look through my notes. Cheer for both teams. Another thing, if your kid is nervous to play, try to get them to, and sometimes this is hard, especially at the youngest ages, but we have plenty of staff members out there, okay? Try to find a staff member, just say, hey, could you toss a ball with him, okay? Sometimes the staff member's at the tent, and they could be able to just toss a ball with them, make them feel a little bit more comfortable, get away from the parent a little bit more, okay? A few other things, just going down a list of different things. Let's just get off just as far as the parent, we want your support. Remember that coaches are people, refs are people. Okay, and your kids just want your support. So that's the last on that. Some bullet notes going down, some important things. Coach recruitment. There are some teams that need coaches. There's some teams that need a second coach. Okay, truly, it is the biggest thing, biggest help if you get a team with 2 coaches. Okay, 2 coaches doubles the reps in a drill because you can now, at a minimum, just about always have 2 stations, okay? To be a second coach on a team, you truly don't need to have any experience. Just be willing to go out there and help, okay? The other coach can lead you, and you can still be an assistant coach and help out, okay? If your team doesn't have a coach, okay, we will always assign a staff member to help coach your team, okay? But it is so much better when there is a parent volunteer coach that's able to come in and help out. And that's for a number of reasons. One big reason is that parent is more likely not going to be more consistent throughout the season. Okay. Even if they're going to only be there every other week, at least they're there half of the games. With staff members, I never know which staff members are going to be available the next week or in 2 weeks. So sometimes you might have a staff member every week, but it might end up being a staff member every other week. That is not the goal, okay? Sometimes it does happen that we have the same staff member every week, but having a parent volunteer to help coach a team, make sure that you at least have a consistent face, a consistent voice throughout the season. So then when a new staff member comes in, that volunteer can say, hey, here are some plays that we've been working on, okay? Whereas the new staff member might not know that otherwise, okay? The other thing, if your team doesn't have a coach and you want to volunteer, but you know you don't have any experience, we can still have you volunteer and it can still help. You just let me know that you are going to volunteer, but you are truly going to be an assistant coach and you need a staff member's assistance. Again, we still are able to get you through that background check. You're able to get out there as that consistent, that consistent face, that consistent voice for the kids. And then sure, let my staff member come and help to be that expert to help teach you also. Okay. Also, as you're taught, as you're out there on the field, I can guarantee you will, by the end of the season, become someone that feels confident to be a head coach and lead a team. And as you do that, you'll also be better suited to coach your children at home. And that's where they're really going to learn to love the sport and get better and develop in the sport when you're able to help them at home. Okay, so you guys all have that link for that, so please register for that if that interests you to jump on and coach again as a first coach or as a second coach. Okay. So some quicker notes. Playing time, we do require that all teams, you get 50% playing time, right? It should be similar, right? It's never going to be exactly the same, but it should never be one player is playing the whole game and another player is playing a fourth of the game, okay? If that happens, you can either have a calm conversation with the coach, but I would honestly recommend to reach out to me, and then we can have staff members and myself to work on it to make sure it doesn't happen, okay? That will happen sometimes, but please reach out to me. Also, it might be worth talking to the coach. Sometimes the kids do tell the coaches that they don't want to go in that right then. Okay. That does happen. And sometimes it's the player that's telling the coach, I don't want to play. Okay. So do have some patience with that and maybe ask your child what was happening. Okay. But again, try not to get mad. Try not to express frustrations to your child, but reach out to me through email. Okay. Instagram. Okay. We're doing a lot of things as far as communication goes. So the first thing is Instagram. Please follow us at the Instagram is I9 Sports 29. The numbers 29. I9 Sports 29. Okay, so please follow us there. We're gonna be putting lots of posts out there. Rain delays. We're going to be posting the schedules. There's going to be a number of photos. Your kid will probably make it on there, or many kids will make it on there. So please follow us, I9 Sports 29. Okay. What else?
I have a question, or a few questions. So this Saturday, we don't have coaches
so really quick, let me just try to get through everything, just because we can't have everybody ask questions. So this Saturday, we'll have a question answer at the end, and you can also email me if we don't get to you. This Saturday, you show up at your scheduled time that your practice time says to show up. Okay. As far as communication goes, there will be a weekly email sent out every week before, typically on Thursday or Friday, just sort of a reminder email. But the biggest thing where you guys can always see your schedule is you go to i9sports.com. Okay, you log in, and at the top right, okay, once you've logged in, it says My Season. Once you go onto My Season, you can then go down, and I'll go ahead. Let me actually go ahead and share this. One second so I can share this. Never mind, it's not letting me share it right now. So again, I9, to always see your schedule, you go to i9sports.com, okay, log in, click on My Season, and then it will show you your schedule, your coaches, and that's where you can always see your schedule. It will tell you when to show up. So most weeks you're going to have a practice followed by a game, okay? So whatever time it tells you to show up is when you're going to show up. I'd encourage everyone to make sure that you're trying to show up 10 minutes early, because in the mornings, everything takes longer. Once you get there, everything takes longer. So try to show up early so you get the full advantage of that full time slot you have to be out on the field. Okay? You will also receive a text the day before the game, which will tell you where to show up and what time. but you will only get that text if you have set your settings to receive text messages. So the way you do that is through i9sports.com. You log in and you go to my account and you change your contact preferences. So the texts are very beneficial, very helpful. Even I still thoroughly appreciate that for my kids to know when they have games. 24 hours before, you get a text that says show up on this field at this time. Okay, so you want to turn that on. Rainouts, I do err on trying to play. Okay, sometimes there will be a delay. Just because there's a delay does not mean that there's a cancel. Okay, so we're going to post that on Instagram, and then we'll also be sending out emails. We'll send out texts, but please try to be aware of it saying delay as opposed to canceled. Okay, it will typically start as a delay, and then we'll later on cancel. Okay. What else? Let's keep going. A few different things with scheduling. The youngest age groups, okay, for most sports, the youngest age groups, it's going to be an hour long. There's some portion of a practice and then some portion of a somewhat modified game depending on the sports, okay? Some teams, and this is pretty rare depending on the league, some teams do travel, so they would go to a different venue. So sometimes a Brandon team will go to a Riverview location, and sometimes a Riverview team will go to a Brandon location. Okay. Some teams, some weeks will have a couple of double headers. If you have a double header, I do encourage the team to get with the coach and to show up to the practice later. So that you're not doing a practice, then a game, then another game. So if you have a double header, work with the coach to show up to practice probably 30 minutes late. So you're really just doing a very quick walkthrough before the two games. And again, we send out a weekly email. This week it'll send out a map for the fields. So make sure you check the map so you really have a good understanding of where you're going. And then make sure you are, again, week one, get there early. Week one is a little bit chaotic. I want to set those expectations. It can feel crazy, and sometimes it even transfers to the gameplay. Okay. The gameplay, honestly, I've seen week one can be a lot worse, and all of a sudden in the second week it's way better. Okay, and sometimes the confusion, the chaos, the new players, new coaches, it does lead the quality on the field to be a little bit worse, but that's okay. That's part of learning and growing. So just don't be too shocked with a little bit more chaotic week one on the field and getting to the field as well. Okay, so I think that's my big thing. I truly wanted everyone to see my face, to understand that I truly am here for you guys and for your kids. I've been on the sidelines many times as my kids have been growing up, and I wasn't a part of I9 Sports, and I wasn't a part of anything, whether I was coaching the team or on the sidelines, where I was just tearing my hair out with different things. And I want to promise you guys, again, this season will not be perfect for everybody. But I do want you guys to feel comfortable with the idea that I truly am committed to making sure that as many people that come out this season are going to leave saying, hey, my kid went out and had a good, fun time. They learned the sport, and we want to come back in a future season. Okay? So with that, I will open up to questions. And I think for questions, apparently this chat is on. Give me a second to figure out how to do this chat. Who was helping me at the very beginning? How do I set this chat? Right now I'm set to only chat to one person.
You have to go back to your chat settings and then turn on chat to everyone. Because right now it's just directed to you. So the questions are only directed to you.
Oh,
you can only chat, but then you will only be the one to see the chat messages. So that'll work as well.
Oh, well, that's perfect then. So I'm getting some messages. So I'd say if you guys have some questions, just start putting them in the chat. So that's the main things that I had to go over. If I see questions in the chat, I'll answer them. If I skip over it, it's because I don't think that it was relevant to everybody as much, but feel free to send me an email. But at this point, that was my bulk message that I have for everybody. Put some questions on and I'll keep answering them, and we'll go from there. So we'll see everybody on Saturday. So jump off, stay on as long as you want, Coach, until we close this up.
Coach, I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you for taking my question. This is my first time as an I9 flag football coach.
Okay.
Is there any recommendations for the parents or what's the procedure? Is there like snacks after the game per parent? Because I've done this like when my son was like 14 years ago.
Drinks.
Yeah.
Drinks, or I mean, what have you?
Yep. So there's snack signups that are online through the i9sports.com, and a parent will jump on and just check mark if they'll bring snacks that week. And then from there, and then they just bring them in after. So
okay, so from what I'm used to with my kids growing up 20 years ago, so there's not a structure for each parent each week to do anything. That's all I need to know, because I want to do that for my team if that's not the situation.
So there's a sign up list on i9sports.com. So if you guys go to i9sports.com and go to my season and my schedule, next to my schedule, you can check mark your name for a specific week to bring snacks. And many of those on this call have already done that in order to bring snacks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
My first time. Thank you for answering.
And thanks for asking that, Brian. Just for efficiency, if I could just ask everybody to, and there are a number of messages on here, so just keep writing the messages in this chat board. I'm going to try to hit the chat messages that come through. So I can just try to knock it out really quick, because there's probably going to be a lot of questions, and it's a little bit more efficient that way. So one question about team requests. So just about all team requests, buddy requests were honored. The only buddy requests that haven't been honored were buddy requests that came in late or that were in different age divisions. Okay. If you feel that we missed something, please go ahead and send me an email. And again, typically it's due to one of those two reasons. It came in super late or they're in different age divisions. Okay. If you have siblings that are in the same age division, they should definitely be on the same team. So please email me. Playoffs, most leagues, or a lot of leagues, playoffs are 2 weeks. Okay, so the week 6 and week 7. Week 6, as of right now, is October 14th. Week 7 is October 28th. There are no games. For Riverview and Brandon, that's the schedule. Jefferson High School will finish on October 21st. So for the Riverview and Brandon leagues, there are no games on October 21st. Okay, Jefferson High School, there are. So the for playoffs, if your team is older, so the youngest ages don't necessarily have playoffs. Okay, so that's typically the 3 and 4 year olds, sometimes a little bit older depending on the division. It's a 2-week playoff, so you won't find out this exact times for your child's game until that week of. So for the October 14th week, that probably Wednesday at the latest, you'll find out the schedule for that week. Typically, the times will be similar to the other times that you guys already played that season. Okay. We have discussed mainly Saturday leagues, but there are also clinics similar for that. The clinics, it shows the schedule online on i9sports.com. Mostly outdoor clinics on Thursday nights. The indoor basketball and volleyball clinics are random days that's in your schedule, but those are on this Friday, the following Tuesday and Thursday, and then the Thursday after that. You guys can all still sign up for the clinics online at i9sports.com. Going through some more questions. Hey, thank you to someone telling me I run a good show, so I'll take that one. Someone asked about how long is the season, so 7-week season. So Jefferson, pending rainouts. Okay, Jefferson is done on October 21st. The other two are Brandon and Riverview High School, ends October 28th. Again, October 21st is off. If there is a rained out week, we will push everything back a week. Okay, if there's a second rained out week, we might push everything back another week, or we might start doing double headers. It'll be a play by feel if there's multiple rainouts. But our intent is to get 7 full weeks in for every team. Okay. Someone's asking about age brackets. If it said 3 to 14-year-old age brackets, I can promise you we do not have 3 to 14-year-old age brackets. That was just how the signups were set up. All age brackets are age appropriate that it fits in. Soccer clinics, that's not this Thursday. So all of our clinics start this week, besides soccer clinics start in 1 week. On September 14th. Okay, again, i9sports.com. If I could preach to everybody, get used to checking i9sports.com every week, probably on Thursday or Friday, to verify your schedule. Schedules are subject to change, and so online it will always change when it goes out. I try to always send out text messages and or emails whenever there are changes. I would prefer to over communicate than under communicate very much. Okay. As far as getting jerseys, so week 1, that's part of the chaos. You'll show up to your field. The coach will grab your what we call a coach bag. It includes all of your different jerseys, and so you'll get your jerseys from your coach. Okay. Again, those that have questions, if you can just type them down. I'm just sort of rolling down the questions as they're there. If you have questions about volunteering, just reach out to me. Let's get all of our volunteers. We do give them resources to make sure that they are successful. And again, we are going to make sure that every team has a quality coach, whether it's a staff member or a volunteer. Okay, we will have a quality coach for your team. Okay, if you feel like your coach isn't very experienced, I'll probably tell you that the coach probably feels that way also, because they decide to stick themselves out there and try. Okay, by all means, do not be critical of them. You can feel free to reach out to me and say, hey, I do feel like we could use a little bit more help out here, and we'll try to get staff out there to help them out. Okay, but for the most part, our coaches do have a lot of resources. They do care, and they're trying to get out there and help your kid and team out to have a good time and to develop. Okay, someone's asking if we're playing this Saturday. Yep, the leagues are going this Saturday. Rainouts, we'll notify on I9 Sports. We will notify on Instagram right away. Again, I9 Sports 29, follow us. We try to not call a rainout until it's actually happening. Unless there's a hurricane coming, we probably will not be calling a day of playing until the day of. Okay, so if it looks stormy and there hasn't been any news yet, we're probably playing, or you haven't checked Instagram, or you haven't checked your email. Okay, so we're playing until you see otherwise. Someone asked again how to set up the text alerts. So you go to i9sports.com. I'll say it a little bit slower. i9sports.com and log in. Okay. Then you go to my account. And then you go to contact preferences and you just check mark to initiate and allow the text messages. Okay. That is also where you go. Next to that, you check my season. You can see your whole season. See your coaches. Lots of good resources there. I'm still going down these questions. Again, we're just to the Q&A question at this point. If anyone feels like they have better things to do right now, NFL has not started yet, so not many better things to do in my opinion tonight. Tomorrow would be a different story. So I'm going to just keep going down the questions until we run out or I get too tired and this is going too long. All the seasons are going 7 weeks this season. Some seasons are 6-week seasons. This season, everything is 7 weeks. It says that at the beginning of when you guys register, how many weeks it is.
For example, I'm sorry. Can I start to say something?
If you can be really quick.
It's honestly very briefly. And good evening, Coach. So I'm new to this. So my daughter is starting her clinics on this Friday.
Okay.
So after she starts her clinics, because the state said it's only 4 weeks. Is that just how it's going to go?
Correct. Clinics are only 4 days. Correct. Clinics have 4 clinics. Days.
Okay. When, if she does finish the clinics, when will she start her real league, or when will you guys decide?
Send me an email. Okay. Send me an email. So if you sign up for clinics, that is clinic only, and the league is separate. Okay. So there are 2 different things: the clinic and then the league. Okay. So yes, the clinics are all of our clinics are 4 different clinics. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll email the rest. Thank you so much.
Someone else put an endorsement for ilovetoWatchYouPlay.com. It truly is an awesome resource. Like, I'm not one to cry. I almost cried when she was speaking to us and about her experiences. So if you guys were it would do every single parent on here really good to type that into their browser and just to read a couple of articles or one article on there. ilovetoWatchYouPlay.com can really change how you look at youth sports. Okay. Yep, they're playing this Saturday. Someone's asking about grandsons being on the same team. Again, reach out to me, especially if we had kids that are on the different teams that are in the same division. We'll definitely make that change, make it work. Um, oh, hey, this is actually really good. So, a big thing that I haven't pushed in the past, but I would strongly encourage those that are on here, probably just about every team on here, every team that's playing probably has a parent on here right now. I'd really encourage a text thread to be developed between the parents on your team. The coaches do have access to one parent's cell phone numbers or phone numbers, whichever parent registered them. But I'd encourage those that are on here, since I'm speaking with you guys, to really try to get a text thread going. That can really help to make sure everybody's on the same page. Every season when there's a travel week, we have 1 or 2 kids that go to the wrong venue. They didn't check i9sports.com, but sometimes a text thread, if the team has a text thread, can really help to make sure that everyone's going to the right spot. Okay, everyone knows what time we're showing up. The other thing is, it does make a big difference for the teams and for your child's growth if they can honestly stick to a similar team in future seasons. So once you get those text threads going, it really does help for the next season say, hey, is everyone coming back? Who's coming back? Let's try to be on the same team. That continuity does help in the development of your kids learning and playing the sport. Not that they need that continuity to develop, but there are some benefits to it. Okay.
Hey, Bradley, quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt.
You're
It
okay.
sent my message directly to you, but what is the exact location of the game on Saturday? Because my kids previously did I-9 at Riverview, so I'm just trying to see where's the exact location for Saturday.
Yeah, so there will be an email that goes out, but the 3 venues that we play at are Riverview High School, Brandon Academy, and Jefferson High School. So on i9sports.com, on your schedule, it will tell you where you are playing. So wherever you signed up is where you are going to be playing. With the rare exception of those that I moved, there's a few people that due to the registrants, we changed the location, and everybody should already know that. And then there's a few teams out there that are going to change venues between Brandon and Riverview. And again, that we max that at 2 times a season that someone would travel to a different venue. But again, even 2 is rare. 1 doesn't happen very often. Most people will play at the same location all season. There will be a map that is sent out on Friday, which will show you also the exact location, exact parking spots of that field. Okay. Jefferson High School and Brandon Academy are pretty simple. Riverview High School can be a little bit more complicated. As Riverview High School, we have flag football in the front corner of the school. And then all of the other sports this season are at the back side of the school. There's a separate entrance for that. So the map will show that. Okay. Going down to the next question. I'm going to keep going through. There are seats at the field. There are benches for the players for the games. Now, there is a little bit of concern that we might have one field this season somewhere. We had some issues with some of the benches. There's a slight chance that your team will be the lucky team this first week that won't have a bench on your field. But we're going to be on that for the following week. So after this week, every team will have a bench. This week, 99% of players will have a bench, if not 100%, on the field. Tents, there are typically not tents for each of the players, okay, or the teams. Parents are free to bring tents for the players, but we don't have tents that are set up for all of the different players, all the different teams, okay. Someone asked about the exact address. Just Riverview High School, Brandon Academy, Jefferson High School. I'd put that into your phone, okay. Someone's asking about clinics. So clinics are purely staff-run, I'd say, practices, where it's pretty high level. I've really gone through all of the different practice plans, done extensive training for our staff members to do a very well-ran practice. It's just to supplement and add on to the league, or separate to introduce yourselves to a sport. Okay, so the clinics are typically Thursday. For this season, they are Thursday nights for our outdoor sports, and for our indoor sports, so that's so outdoor sports being soccer, baseball for 6 and under, and football, flag football, and then our indoor sports being volleyball and basketball are not on Thursdays. Those are this Friday, the following Tuesday, Thursday, and the Thursday following that. Okay. Staff members, there are plenty of staff members on site always. There is typically there's a different, what we call the tent at the front of essentially every sport or every field or group of fields. Sometimes when they have to go and help a team, there might not be one there. But we have a plethora of staff. We make sure there's assignments each week. We go through, a lot of the time I spend each week is making sure that we have the proper staff to make sure that we have enough quality coaches everywhere and enough quality refs everywhere, extra people for when people miss, and extra people just if things come up. Okay. I will actually add that if your team all of a sudden does not have a coach, practice has started and they are not there, sometimes we can't see that. Please don't hesitate to go to the tent, okay? Find a staff member and say, hey, our coach isn't here yet, okay? And let us know, and then we can typically scramble and find someone to go in to help start that practice, and hopefully that coach will come soon, okay? If that happens, or if it's happening consistently, again, let us know. My priority is to make sure that whether it's a volunteer or a staff coach, that you guys get a good quality program. So if you guys are if the coach isn't there often, okay, or it's the third week in a row and they no-showed, right? Let me know. Hey, by the way, so you know, you probably don't know this because you have so many teams and so many players. Just want you to know this coach hasn't been here at the beginning. Could you help us with a staff member this week? Okay. Again, communicate with us, and we're going to do a lot to really try to help out. Someone says that, so some of the time frames that are online at registration or on the program details, so for example, certain sports will say this sport is from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. That does not mean they're there for those 3 hours. Okay, so if you check i9sports.com, it will tell you what time your practice starts. Okay, everyone will be there for at least 1 hour, regardless of the sport or whatever it is. You were there for 1 hour. Typically, the practice will range anywhere from 30 minutes to 50 minutes, depending on the age and the sport. And then there's a game following that. Okay. If you want to put names on the back of your jerseys, go for it. As far as shoes, right outside, it's recommended to wear cleats. If you don't have cleats, they'll do well without cleats, but it's definitely recommended cleats. Inside, definitely not cleats. Okay. Shorts, any colored shorts work. So don't worry about that too much. If you sign up for a clinic, you won't be able to sign up for a league this season unless you were to sign up tonight or tomorrow, or I guess Friday also, because the league will have already started. You can definitely do the clinic and league. That's not an issue. No one should be scared from starting the league because they're doing the clinic. But then our next season does start. Our next league play does start in December. Okay, so that'd be the next chance if you don't start the league this season. Okay. Shin guards for soccer, you definitely need to bring shin guards. Those are mandatory. We do have some shin guards that are on sale at site if they're forgotten. We also, on that note, we do have drinks that cold beverages, Gatorades, waters that you can purchase through Venmo, PayPal, and one other app. I think Zelle. You can pay through on site. Okay. But socks, you definitely would need to have long socks to cover the shin guards, unless they're the type of shin guards that are going to wrap around your calves. Okay. Keep going. If you have a question, if you could just type it down, that helps out a lot. Gloves, I'm not sure. Someone's asking about gloves. I'm not sure what sport. Football. For football, I will say my two kids, it sounds like it's cheating. I remember growing up, people would say, "You're wearing gloves.